In this episode of AK Podcast.
Just an opportunity to kind of show them Agri-King, show them the production laboratory, different things that we offer and do. But I think actually probably the most exciting part of it all is, in the dairy industry, the one thing I'll give everybody credit for is they're very good about sharing ideas and talking about what they're doing and the different things that are working on their farms, and the opportunity to bring in this many farms and be able to talk about what's working on their dairies and sharing ideas. And that, I think, is probably the part I enjoy the most.
You know you're a hay nerd when you walk into a hay barn and you just love that smell.
Doggone it, I gotta put more corn in. I'm gonna have to add some soybean meal. Wow, did that cost you a lot of money?
Put yourself in a crowded elevator, and the elevator stops because, I don't know, the building's on fire.
I really like to ask them what's important to them.
We're here for the cow. She's giving us all the profits we need to maintain these facilities and buildings and employees. Man, let's take care of her.
Roadway, I'd call it more as a roundabout. And it's kind of like a weird analogy where we're, as farmers, farming and raising these livestock up, and then themselves are kind of have their own, herd of microbes in their gut that they're raising up.
I have two great passions in my life. The one is people, and the second is cows. And I want to get the best out of them.
Hello, and welcome to AK Podcast, where we explore science and nutrition behind livestock care and management with the best and the brightest in the business. I'm your host, Chris Radke, part of the sales department here at Agri-King. And with me today, as usual, is the Director of Field Services and a member of the sales management team, Mr. Mike Donaldson. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Off to a great day, Chris. Hope you're having a good one.
It's pretty fantastic. What are we talking about today?
Well, in March of 2026, Agri-King held one of our Progressive Dairy Forum meetings where we invite prospects and clients from across the country to come to our office in Fulton, Illinois, hear some outside speakers, hear some of our own speakers, do a tour, especially of our laboratory, the production lab, as well as the R&D lab, and pretty much just have a chance to rub shoulders with some of the other outstanding producers in the dairy industry. This year, Chris and I recorded some short interviews with a few of the farms, as well as a couple people from Agri-King that helped put the event on. And what we're going to show you today on this edition of the AK Podcast are those clips. So, Chris, go ahead and move on into the clips.
We're joined right now by Agri-King's president, Dave Furley. That's a partial introduction, but would you go into a little more detail about what brings you here?
Just here, I've got a lot of clients that have came in, a lot of prospects that have come in. Just an opportunity to kind of show them Agri-King, show them the production laboratory, different things that we offer and do. But I think actually probably the most exciting part of it all is, in the dairy industry, the one thing I'll give everybody credit for is they're very good about sharing ideas and talking about what they're doing and the different things that are working on their farms, and the opportunity to bring in this many farms and be able to talk about what's working on their dairies and sharing ideas. And that, I think, is probably the part I enjoy the most, honestly.
It was fun when you had them introduce themselves, the diverse part of the country that we've got covered. What was the, from here to here, not quite sea to shining sea, but close.
It was close, yeah. Well, we had Washington, Idaho, California, across the Midwest with Wisconsin, Indiana, went all the way out to North Carolina. I think, did we have Pennsylvania too?
Yeah.
We had a couple of Pennsylvanians.
We do.
So, no, really good group, wide variety on sizes. I think the smallest area, is around 350, 400 cows. And just a good variety, dealing with different feedstuffs, as well too, when you're going across geography that far. I mean, what Pennsylvania dairies are doing is a little bit different than California dairies, and kind of some of the different problems and obstacles that they face. But no, it's just neat to see them all together and be able to talk about it.
Well, this is the third or fourth time we've done this, I think. We used to do it about every other year. And I'll admit point blank that I get a kick out of being here and showing off the office and the facility. And even our best clients often don't just wander past here and get to see anything or see what's behind what their field nutritionist is doing. What have been some of the comments that you've heard other years that they really are, I never knew Agri-King had, fill in the blank? Oh my gosh, look what they're doing over here. What have you heard in the past?
Well, I think the neatest thing is just the opportunity for them to see that I've been told that they found out we weren't just some mom and pop company. The coolest thing is when they are able to see all the different things that we can do, which we call underneath one roof. It's not really one roof. We have 4 different buildings here, but basically in one location, from the research and development, we can do the things that are down there, from the production laboratory to the, even the product testing facility that we have, just the different things that we're able to offer and doing for them to be able to see it and see the technology. And I think even more important than that is being able to see the people behind the scenes that are working for them on their dairies, get to know them. That familiarity, comes in handy when there's a challenge or maybe somebody wants to grow and build in addition to what they're currently doing or expand. Having these other people now be familiar with their operations kind of can help lead some of their expertise that way too in the long run and things.
Now, it certainly is fun to watch them at break and at meals. You almost have to pry them apart. They get talking about this or that, and pretty soon the hands are going. We had a person speak this morning, gentleman that lives in Kentucky and works through Carolinas, Kentucky, a little bit of southern Indiana, and talking about how they feed animals, and it's getting the people in Wisconsin thinking, oh, I didn't think people did it quite that way. There's more than one way to get this done. So what do you like to think people go home with a better understanding of? I mean, you talked about what they talk about, but what would you like if you were to call everybody first part of next week, what would you like them to tell you that they came away with?
Just this overall support, I think, that Agri-King offers and does. We can do special testing in the lab, but we've got specialists that look at so many different things. From, we have people that are robotic specialists. We have people that work on records and data collection for them. From people that help, will even help if they decide to use a preservative like Silo-King, that'll help them make sure that it's applied correctly, that the applicators are put on their equipment. There's such a wide range of people that are all working towards, trying to help them have the success that they deserve. And that's what I always hope when they come here is they get to meet people, put a face with a name, and that they just know that, those people, when they're having success on their dairy, that those people, I mean, when word travels back here, they get to see it. The people that work here, it means the world to them too, to know that, in their little portion, maybe even in the laboratory, that they had, this much to do with somebody's success on the dairy.
That is perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the insight and being part of a company that does this for people.
No, I appreciate the opportunity. So thank you, Mike.
Great to be here. Leroy Plagerman. We actually have 3 farm names. We farm in Northwest Washington, and we have a Paradise Jerseys, a Heritage Dairy, and a Bell Inn Farms.
Wow. Obviously the jerseys are probably jerseys. What's a little bit about the other 2?
Well, we started with Bell Inn Farms. It's situated right between Bellingham and Linden. So we took the first 3 letters of both. So we got Bell Inn, and that was our first farm, and we wanted to expand a little bit. And we bought a second farm, put jerseys on there, called it Paradise Jerseys. And then we have a large family, and we're trying to think of our future, and we called it Heritage. So something to carry on in the family.
That is wonderful. That is great. So out of the forum so far, what's been some of your favorite topics that you've heard discussed?
Well, we started off with a calf one, and we're switching one of our farms to organic. And we had a calf raiser raising our calves, and now we're doing it ourselves now.
Oh, sure.
So I found that really interesting on what we can do to get our calves to grow faster and keep them alive. So started out with a great one right off the beginning.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, yesterday we did a tour through our laboratory upstairs and downstairs. and some of the things we've done on our manufacturing side. What stood out to you during that tour?
Well, right, the very first station that we went, just the speed with what they can turn around to sample and get us results back so we can get our rations balanced according to the forage. I was impressed with how fast they can turn them around. And then just the detail to make sure that those samples that we're sending in, how they can analyze them with the wet chemistry to make sure that they're accurate. And then that those rumens, live rumens, that was really cool to see how they do that to simulate how it goes through an animal's rumen and check that digestibility on it. So it was impressive.
Well, that's great. Well, we are so happy to have you here. I hope you enjoy the rest of your visit, and thank you again for coming.
Thanks for having us with us. That really appreciate it.
My name is John Siebelink. I have a dairy farm together with my brother in Nampa, Idaho. Been there since 2000 when we started. We milk about 600 cows and raise most of our own forages there. And we just recently started working with Agri-King through our nutritionist that switched over there, and we followed him out there.
Well, we're really pleased that you could make the time to come out this way. We've had a few topics already discussed. So far, what's been your favorite speaker, your favorite topic?
I especially like the first one about the cows and heifers. It's something we raise our own replacement animals, so definitely some take-home notes that I picked up there. And another part of that I really enjoyed was touring the lab.
That is kind of, to be honest, my wife grew up in the country but not a farm girl, and she's been here, and she just shakes her head and can't believe how much science goes into feeding cows. And
yeah, definitely.
I think that's one of the, even for people as veteran in the industry as you are, it's sometimes interesting to see just what's being thrown at the problems and challenges that you might face.
Yeah, it's just the people at the lab too are very enthusiastic about what they're doing and to show it off, and it's great to see that.
That's good.
People standing behind their products and not just pushing products on us.
Well, I'm very glad, very thankful you could be here, but we don't want to take you away from the rest of the session. I just wanted to grab you and appreciate you sharing, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Likewise.
My name is James Bartholomew. We're up by Belchester, Minnesota. We run about 500 cows. I'm the 5th generation. Me and my wife farm together. We recently just installed 7 robotic Lely milkers. Everything's going smooth, and yes,
that's wonderful. That's exciting to have something like that with the robots.
Yes,
going in. That's one of the things happening right now in the industry that sort of fascinates me a little bit. What's been some of the topics that you've heard at the forum that you found especially interesting?
A lot of just like the feed sampling. I wasn't familiar with how all the feed samples take place, and just learning how the diets work together, and then how the lab works. And
it's always kind of fun for us to bring people in and sort of show off the facilities in the lab. I think it's more than a lot of people have probably been exposed to is what's behind that report that comes back. What were some of the pieces of the lab and manufacturing tour that stood out to you?
I mean, the rumen mat was interesting. My vet always talks about the rumen mat. It's interesting to see how it actually works in real life, and it makes you know what's going on. Actually,
those artificial rumens that's quite a concept. I'm pretty proud that one of our people thought that up 30 years ago and has it still running today.
Yes, it's impressive.
So, well, perfect. Well, Jim, thank you so much for being at the forum. Appreciate you being here, and hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yes, thanks for having us come over.
I'm Susie Benoit, and I'm part of the herds person at Lazy M Farm in Wisconsin. I'm responsible for the day-to-day herd health and breeding on the dairy. I also take care of our treated and fresh cows. And we milk about 500 cows and raise all of our own crops and all of our young stock.
Wonderful. Oh, we're really glad to have you here for the Progressive Dairy Forum. What's been your favorite speaker, your favorite topic so far?
Um, while I don't work with our baby calves every day, I'm passionate about uh, the next generation on the dairy. I did work off the farm for about 15 years, and calves and heifers are my, I guess, my soft spot and my passion. So it's always interesting for me to hear more information, kind of get a good little brush up on what's going on out in the industry on the calf and heifer side, and hopefully to take that back home. And even if we can tweak one thing, we do a lot with dairy genetics and marketing. So for us, not only is the commercial herd a priority, but making an impact on the genetics that we're marketing off the farm.
Well, that's got to be an amazing anything. I mean, a crossbred calf is worth an obscene amount of money. When you start having valuable genetics and start looking at a row of hutches with that kind of potential, it's got to be frightening what they're worth.
We just, I think I have 2 embryo transfer calves left for this month. And we had 5 due out of a flush that we had sold first choice. And while all calves are valuable and make me nervous, those 5 made me really nervous. But they all, 4 out of the 5 came during the day. And the one born at night, of course, was the one that I had to straighten out a leg, but everything turned out fine. So yeah, all of them make me nervous, but sometimes those make me really nervous.
Oh, well, it sounds like you're good at what you do though, too. We did a tour of the facilities here at Agri-King today. What was something that stood out to you on that tour?
I really found it fascinating, just the change over time and the efficiency, the adjustments and the new equipment that the lab has implemented over the years, and how quickly they can get a sample back out to the nutrition team. As I said, I was off farm doing feed sales for 15 years. And I mean, I remember times I'm waiting and saying, where's my sample? That was pretty impressive to see the technology and what they can do over there.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to come, and I hope you enjoy yourself the rest of the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nathan Braley. I'm from Portland, Michigan. We milk 500 cows, do it in a double 6 parlor 3 times a day. So really rocking that parlor and getting really good milk out of our cows, maximizing that part of our facility. Really have a passion for growing high quality forages and lots of them on every acre. Run a really tight rotation where there's never an idle piece of ground. We always have something growing, and really passionate about turning forage into meat and milk, and then applying the manure at the right time and getting as much out of the whole system as we can.
That is perfect. I do think I made the statement yesterday to the group I was with. I think there's people in the dairy industry, maybe our competitors, that almost wish cows were monogastrics, so we just feed them grain and it would make their life easier. They'd sell more grain and they wouldn't have to take the care to balance everything. But I don't think there's going to be a time when we can move away from forages, and especially grape forages as being the way to really maximize profits and health on an animal.
Yeah.
So what's been some of the topics that you've heard at the forum that you had found interesting?
I really like the calf presentation. That really affirmed some of the things that we've learned and applied. And I really am interested to get even to the next level with talking with Adam about things in the calf world. And I have a daughter that's real passionate about calves and going to MSU right now. So I think they could connect in their worlds and really help the industry get better at, raising calves. I also liked just networking with people here. We're really busy in our jobs, and we can listen to videos on YouTube, but really just talking with people about some of those issues that you don't post or you don't really want to talk about only person to person. So
I think it's best if it's a both and, that it's nice to have both a face-to-face and the ability to look something up and listen to it or watch it. But I think a lot of the world just jumps to the second part and is mistakenly turning their back on the ability to face-to-face communicate. That's interesting to hear you saying that. we took you on a tour of our lab facility, manufacturing. Anything there that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's I've been on another tour over in Europe at a I'm going to say inoculant lab, and very high quality in that country that I was in, but this one is world class too. Like very very good attention to detail. Not afraid to spend money on equipment. People specialized in their area, and yeah, it's exciting to be around passionate people.
That's great. Well, Nathan, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. And have a good rest of your stay with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've got the person who put the whole agenda together. This is obviously Jason also. A lot of you who followed the podcast have seen some of Jason's work. Jason stepped up, put together an incredible 2 days. We're partway through the whole process. What's your impression so far, Jason?
I couldn't be happier with our nutrition consultants who got good dairymen here. And you and I talked while we were watching the last speakers. They were just engaged in learning. Usually the afternoon it's toughest because people are nodding off and falling asleep or looking at their phones, but they were engaged. One other change we did this year that I don't remember who suggested, I think it might have been Justin, suggested doing the tours this afternoon rather than first thing when they got here this morning.
Okay.
And I think that was really nice because it broke up the day. We got right into learning when they got here. And then right after lunch, when everybody's drowsy anyway, we took them on the tours. And again, our people did a stellar job.
Well, and you and I both had 2 of the 4 tour groups.
Yeah.
And it's fun for us. We've been here. We've seen these things. It's almost like watching a movie you've seen before with somebody who's never seen that movie.
Yeah.
And you could look at them and they're going to like this part. This is, I'm going to watch. I'm not listening to the person in the lab. I'm watching the people because they're going to like this part.
Yeah.
What were some of the moments for you when you were on the tour and having that moment when you're watching the people you're with that don't know what's about to be talked about? What were some of the wow moments that you saw?
Well, there were really 2 wow moments for me. One, the new packaging machine is phenomenal. And all the gearheads are there asking questions, watching every bag drop, watching the wrapper happen. They just love that. So that's a new highlight for us since we just put that in. But typically, and it held true again today, the rumens. We stand in that corner, and once we explain everything that we do with those rumens, how, unique we are to have them, how it allows us to be cutting edge in our technology, how it allows us to calibrate our machines tighter than anybody else in the industry. It makes our lab better. Those living rumens have been a game changer for Agri-King. And, it just goes with the dairy industry. That cow, that rumen, pays all their bills for everybody that's here, gives us all a living. It's pretty cool. So that we really had, I snuck in on a couple other groups in that corner because I like to interject a little bit in there because sometimes our scientists talk, right on here. So I dumb it down. I bring it down to the street level and just talk through what we're doing and how that's unique.
Yeah.
I love being a part of that corner.
No, that's absolutely true. I see the same thing. Any other thoughts?
The other word that I like to sprinkle in, and I'll do it again tomorrow, and what I like those groups to understand is the synergy. Why are we here? Agri-King is here for them. Agri-King is not a company that's putting stuff in a bag to make money. We don't put stuff in a bag to say, you know what, that's going to increase our sales, put a cheaper product in so we can make more profit on that. We don't work that way. We do our research, and we want bug A and bug B and bug C to equal 5. Because we want this one, we want to understand it so good with our R&D that this one supports this one, and this one supports that one, and together they do more. And they create better absorption. And, so that's one of the guys down on the south side of the lab asked about a competitor product when we were talking about emission stuff, there's this product out there. And Luke did a nice job of explaining how that product does lower emissions, but it also lowers the metabolism of the cow. So it was another good example for us to say, you know what, that's fine, but we're not here to put a Band-Aid on something. We want that whole process to work efficiently from A to B, and that puts more money in your pocket and lowers emissions. That's the right way to do it. And they all shook their head.
Yeah.
They got it then, right? That's how we should do it. So, yeah.
Well, hey, thank you. You put together a wonderful agenda. I know you do get to talk about Silo King a little before they go home, which is where you spend most of your time. But great job, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for being here.
Well, I hope you enjoyed those clips from this year's Progressive Dairy Forum at Agri-King. We do the forum every 2 years, and if it's the kind of thing you think you might be interested in, be sure to mention it to your Agri-King representative, and we'll see if we can get you on the invitation list for the Dairy Forum in 2028. Thank you so much.